All right, big, warm welcome for Claudia. Let her hear it.
So I was about 8 years old when my family moved to South Texas. And every weekend, my big sister and I and our two best friends that were our neighbors, two girls, we would ride out to this creek that was at the back of the property on our bikes. And I should say it was a creek, but it was Texas, so there was never any water in it. And it was just rocks and mud and just an amazing place to like play and explore and for one summer to get a little dirty. So we came out there one Saturday morning and we were on our bikes and we saw just like paper sort of strewn everywhere. I mean, it looked like somebody had sort of opened up their Trapper Keeper and just like let it fly. Yeah, I said Trapper Keeper, people. That's not what they had opened up. We sort of all started climbing down into the creek, and every one of us at this point, you know, we're like 8, 9, 10, 11, those are our ages. We start picking up some of the paper. Oh my. It was pages upon pages of old school dirty porn. Right? And not like high class Playboy. No, it was like Hustler and Penthouse and Grocer, and it was just pages of tits and vaginas and spread eagle and things I didn't know anyone did with their mouths. And I mean, it was just like hushed silence as four little girls stood there like having sort of a personal moment of discovery. And as if we'd talked about it, it's like we knew what to do. We totally, what do you do when you find like your dirty porn magazine stash? We went into full restoration mode. Obviously, you can't be the librarians of porn if it's not properly cleaned and organized. So my sister was the oldest, so she went in charge and we were like, find the pages that are like most, you know, well kept. And we were like laying them out on the rocks to dry. We were leaning them over branches. I mean, we were trying to put them back together like, I found 14. Does anyone have page 15? I mean, if it was a crime scene of your porn magazines, we were CSI. Like, we had this down. And we were obsessed. And then, I looked back and I was like, what were we doing? And I thought, it's because we were girls. And nobody talks about dirty sex with girls. Nobody tells you anything. They talk about storks and love. And, yeah, dude, we had a cornucopia of porn and we were not losing a page. And we did. I mean, we just like, I read every word. I mean, if they were going to talk about this, I was like, oh, yeah, uh-huh. And they had bios. Like, there would be like Lacey from Tampa, Florida, who wants to be a nurse. But she was really busy, like, spread eagle, touching titties. And it was like we sat there all afternoon. I mean, it was like Christmas, like the dirtiest Christmas ever. And we sort of knew, we were like, all right. We were like, what do we need to do? And we were like, all right. I mean, I don't think these are the words, but the sentiment was, what happens in a creek bed with smutty magazines stays in a creek bed with smutty magazines. And so, I mean, it was 4 little girls, please. No one can keep a secret. But who caved? This guy. I was kind of like the Joe Pesci of the group, looking back. I was just like a little hyper and kind of mouthy and had some bravado. And maybe my big sister had a slumber party. And maybe I thought I would try to impress older girls with our hidden porn stash. Yeah. Everybody kind of was into it, whatever. They kind of all looked and were like shocked. I mean, there's that little girl like, ah! Right? Next day, everyone went home. I thought we were fine. Sometimes I forget we lived in like Christian conservative Southern Baptist Texas. So then, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, somebody calls my mom. Yeah, I don't remember what little girl told her mom. I refer to her now as that bitch. Totally ratted out. So her mom calls freaking out and like sort of yelling at my mom, saying that they were forced to look at the most pornographic things ever. And that bitch told her mom, yeah, that's her name, that I made her look at it. that I dragged them down to the creek and made them look at porn. Whatever. So my mom gets off the phone, and she asks to see it. She's like, I hear what's happening. We sort of get a talking to, but not really. Like, my mom was pretty cool. My mom was kind of like, curiosity about sexuality is pretty normal. And so we did have to like hand it over. We had to kind of give up our porn stash. And whatever. But then it led to like the talk with my mom about our bodies and sex and menstruation, and it just got really in depth with my mom and the sex talk, which I appreciate. I totally appreciate her honesty and her openness with us. But I learned some lessons, with that whole thing. I sort of learned, if you find stuff that's dirty and gross and creepy and porno, you keep that secret. 2, my mom was pretty awesome and always had our back and wasn't going to be shamed by crazy Christians. But maybe my best lessons from that summer came from the likes of like Lacey from Tampa. Thanks.